Hey Geeks, welcome back to the Geek XP. This is our second episode of the Star Wars Holocron. My name is Kyle.
And I'm Marley.
Marley is one of our newest members of the Geek XP, coming to us from Marley D on YouTube. And today we're here to talk about the reveal of the new Star Wars movie title, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Which, on its own, is an incredibly exciting title.
It's super ominous.
It's very ominous. Well, that compounded with the red logo, horrifying.
Bad stuff's gonna happen in this movie.
Right. So we're just going to talk about our thoughts on this new title, what it could mean, based on implications of what we've already seen, and things we might think are coming down the line. So, Marley, why don't you start talking about what you thought?
So, immediately, my first thought is Luke's gonna die at the end of this movie, and Rey will be the last of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had a couple other thoughts. One of them was, Jedi is both singular and plural, so the Last Jedi could mean Rey and Luke. They're the Last Jedi. And then my other one, which is one I've kind of been gravitating more towards lately, is that maybe Luke, in his shame at Kylo's fall, has kind of renounced the Jedi way, or maybe he's not the same person that he was.
Right.
And training Rey is what's gonna set him back on that track, and by the end of the movie, Rey will no longer be the Last Jedi. She'll have Luke there with her.
Okay, that's an interesting thought. So it could be more plural, and the idea that she's not the Last Jedi. So like maybe she starts the movie as the Last Jedi,
exactly.
And then that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. My thoughts are, and the reason why my thoughts are in this sort of realm. Comes from that Yoda line in Return of the Jedi when he says, "When I die, last of the Jedi shall you be." And so when I read that title, I immediately thought of that line.
Yeah.
And so my brain space is in a Luke-centric sort of title. I'm hoping it's not going to be that. Not that I don't want more Luke, but this is continuing Rey's story and Finn and Poe.
Yeah.
And that's really important to keep the movies fresh, because a big concern about the movies right now is copying the original trilogy. So that, and compounded with, in the opening crawls of Force Awakens, it starts out with Luke Skywalker, has gone missing, like the last of the Jedi, blah, blah, blah. So I think you're probably right. I think in terms of Luke dying, probably by the end of this movie, and leaving Rey behind to be the Last Jedi, or potentially Kylo. One idea we had would be interesting is possibly Kylo's return to the light side as Rey falls to the dark. They both had very similar abandonment issues growing up as kids.
Yeah.
And Rey has been unusually patient with, I'm just going to keep waiting and waiting and waiting.
She might snap.
She might, with more power, who knows? If we see a flip at the end of this movie where, obviously Snoke wants Rey. He wanted him to bring her to him. We could see a huge flip by the end of this movie where Kylo's like, oh, shit. Is that particularly likely after the murder of his father? Probably not. But it would be interesting to see. Kylo, I think, is definitely a potential nomination to be this Last Jedi.
I think so, too. Kylo is probably, I think, as I've thought about The Force Awakens, probably my favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the most fascinating, and he's got the most paths he can take in which direction his character can go. And so, he could totally make a turn to the light, and Rey, for whatever reason, gets tossed down the dark side.
Yeah.
I'm hesitant to think they'll kill Luke, just because if they kill Luke, I feel like the attitude going forward is going to be, so which legacy character are they going to kill this movie?
Right. That's
and
true.
I feel like they want to keep that from becoming predictable.
Maybe. I feel like, though, with the red logo, that's definitely on purpose. And it portends death. Absolutely. And, what was the last time we saw a red title? I think the last time we saw a red title was Return of the Jedi. Yeah. And maybe in Revenge of the Sith. So I guess that would be more recent. So much death. So much death. So I think probably a reasonable prediction. Somebody's gonna die. Yeah. And I would not be surprised if Luke bit it in a very Obi-Wan sort of manner.
Oh,
because also, his best friend is dead. He feels like a complete failure.
Yeah.
If anything bad happens, if he feels like maybe even if Rey needs that push to sacrifice himself, which could push Kylo even further into the dark side, not only killing his father in The Force Awakens, but killing his old mentor in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see, because...
Do you think they'll have Kylo kill Luke? I worry that if they have Kylo kill Luke, that pushes Kylo too far away from possible forgiveness.
I mean, he already killed his father. That's totally worse.
Well, no, but that's the thing is, like, they had him kill Han. That's one beloved character. If they have him kill Luke, too, I think...
Completely non-sympathetic.
I think that gets to the point where you can't forgive him at all.
Yeah.
Like, he would have to re-put together Alderaan, basically, at that point, to do anything to get people on his side.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point, because they are beginning to paint... They already began painting him as a more sympathetic villain.
Yeah.
With his clear conflict between the light and the dark side.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and I'm in the camp, I'm rooting for his return to the light side.
Yeah, I'd love to see
We're either going to see that, or every movie he's just going to get darker and darker. Like, we see him in episode 7 with, like, some dark clothes, and he's gotten cut up.
Degraded.
I think he's going to become more physical. He's going to have a huge scar.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, on one end, we could see him return to the light. On the other, we could see him degrade more and more into the creature Darth Vader was, which he wants to emulate anyway, only to return to the light at the end of his life and sacrifice himself, much like his grandfather, then completing the circle of what he wanted anyway without realizing what he was going into.
Yeah.
And anyway, so getting back to The Last Jedi, your thoughts on that the movie might start out with The Last Jedi being Rey.
Yeah.
Because there's no way she hasn't been trained. In my opinion, there's no way she hasn't been trained.
When she was dropped off on Jakku, she definitely had her mind wiped.
Yeah. So, that's interesting. My initial thinking is, by the end of this movie, we'll have one Jedi. And then the idea of starting the movie with one Jedi and then going from there. That's an interesting thought. Do you think, because now we've seen slowly reintroducing the canon from the Old Republic games being officially made canon in the Star Wars universe, do you think we might see maybe The Last Jedi is Luke and Rey begins a new order much more like Luke's, where they're much grayer.
Yeah.
And, or in the Old Republic, you had the Grey Knights.
Yeah.
The Grey Jedi who specifically focused on living in the middle.
Yeah.
Do you think The Last Jedi will mean Luke was the last Jedi, and from here on out, Jedi just aren't a thing anymore because they're not trained in that way?
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the prequels, the old way of doing things had some serious problems with it. So maybe Rey, throughout this movie, after learning from Luke, just goes, this isn't the way to do things anymore. And maybe you're right. Maybe they ditch the old order, and from here on out, it's Rey's way of doing things, and maybe she kind of toes that line a little bit more.
That'd be interesting. I mean, it'd be cool and progressive, but I would be kind of sad to see the Jedi Order just fade away into nothing.
Yeah, maybe not fade away, but maybe like, all right, we've got a Jedi Order, but if you're a Jedi, you can fall in love and talk about your problems some more instead of bottling them up, which is what Anakin did.
So that's absolutely a big reason why that all went to shit.
Yeah.
So we could potentially be looking at the loss of not only like the Last Jedi, but technically the way that order is even considered. Hopefully we'll also get more insight into what Luke's burgeoning academy would have been like.
Yeah.
Like, where did he go wrong with Kylo?
Yeah.
Because we also, we get that he's angry, he had some abandonment issues with his mom and dad, but we don't have the details. I feel like this movie could really, because a lot of people exited Force Awakens being like, either fuck Kylo Ren, or he's gonna be like Snape and turn out to be a good guy the whole time.
Always.
That's not going to be a thing. I would like to see him return to the light side, but he's not a double agent right now. It's too far.
No way.
But what I was getting at... Oh, no, I lost my train of thought. Oh, no. Oh, it's totally gone. Where was it? What was I just talking about? So the Force Awakens ends with people either hating or loving Kylo.
Yeah.
And with this movie, I would like an opportunity to see more of his fall.
Yeah.
So that people can inform their decision based on the emotional impression left by Episode 7, to either be like, okay, his background, now I sympathize with how evil he is, or that's not an excuse, and that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Because
they definitely need to get into backstory in this movie.
Yeah, especially my opinion.
Especially with him.
Especially since he's trying to emulate Anakin so much, and Anakin, the way his fall is written, leaves absolutely zero compassion or relatability.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see if his fall really was from a place of I can see where that happened.
Yeah.
I can see where your road of good decisions led you this path.
Yeah,
but not with Anakin.
I saw a popular fan theory that I've seen around, and I kind of had the thought after watching Force Awakens too, is that what if maybe Anakin's Force Ghost sensed this darkness in Kylo, and it tried to come to him, but you've got to be open to the Force Ghost.
Right.
What if he saw Anakin and totally misinterpreted what he was there for?
I absolutely could see that.
And Luke, trying to protect his nephew, didn't give him all the information about Vader/Anakin. And
you mean like Yoda and Obi-Wan did to Luke?
Yeah, exactly.
You should have told me. No, I'm not going to tell him anything.
And not getting that knowledge, Kylo just started looking for it on his own.
And then finds
Snoke. And Snoke kind of tempts him with I'll give you everything Luke wouldn't.
Yeah, that would also be nice, tiny piecemeal information about Snoke.
Yeah.
Like what he is, what his actual role is. Other people seem to know who Snoke is.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's some hidden figure that nobody knew about.
Han, Leia know about him.
They seem to know about him, so it's likely he was like a Palpatine figure in the semi-public eye.
Yeah.
I think I read something, I don't know if it was in Bloodlines, the Leia book, about Snoke being sort of the spearhead of the faction of the Senate in the New Republic that was like, we need to be more like the Empire. Like, they weren't totally wrong. And everyone was like, fuck this guy. And of course, he ends up being Darkseid and seeing Kylo's power, because I feel like, and I really hope we see Kylo really flex his Force powers.
Yeah.
Because he stopped a blaster bolt, which we've never seen before. He absolutely, to my opinion, has to be the most powerful Force user we've seen in any film. Then people say he's a total punk because he got trashed on
by Rey at the end.
By Rey, but I mean, there's tons of videos breaking down that fight.
Yeah.
With Finn, he's toying with him.
Yeah.
And he has to bring in Rey. He was told to bring her in, and he's trying to draw her in.
He had just taken that blaster bolt from Chewie.
He just committed patricide. And they establish how much damage that blaster does.
Yeah.
Like, the bowcaster hurts.
It flips that one
It launches at one guy. So, he's in pain. He's in emotional distress.
Yeah.
He, is toying with Finn, doesn't want to kill Rey. Everything about that fight sets up he's not trying.
No, and the Force is definitely on Rey's side in that fight.
Yeah.
People kind of forget that the Force is kind of like this weird living nebulous thing, and when it needs to take a side, or not so much take a side, but maintain a certain balance.
Right.
It will, put some cards in someone else's favor.
Well, it's that idea of destiny and fate being manifested. But anyway, so The Last Jedi, we're anticipating some form of character death, whether it'll be a legacy character or someone new.
Yeah.
It may be a little too early to kill someone new. I mean, there's only been 3 movies, but Han's death at the end of Empire would have been really heavy-hitting. Yeah. So maybe it's not too soon. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
But the red title indicates a lot of horrible things to come.
So bad.
But at the face of it, The Last Jedi title carries a lot of weight, but on its face is super exciting.
Yeah.
And
you don't get Rian Johnson to direct your movie if you're directing a happy movie. I don't know if anyone's seen Looper, but...
And people will undoubtedly complain that, first of all, if you're following the traditional acts of a play that Star Wars always has, which it should... The second act always ends bad.
Yeah.
That's
Force Awakens, just a Star Wars thing.
No, that's a thematic, theatrical pacing
that
you should be doing. And Force Awakens, much like A New Hope, ended on a rather positive high note.
Yeah.
Han had just died, but, Rey found Luke. We had this new opportunity.
Starkiller Base is gone.
Yeah, Kylo's been taken down a peg. That ended positively. The Last Jedi, in order for this to function as a real theatrical trilogy, should end on a dark note.
Yeah, there's gotta be weight to it.
People will bitch that it's a complete reskin of Empire, which tonally it kind of has to, as long as everything inside of it is different. Totally fine.
Yeah.
So I think, and the name is just cool.
It's awesome.
It's any Star Wars name that ends with the word Jedi is pretty cool, as long as 0 Ewoks are involved in this one.
I disagree.
I will disagree with you on that forever. But anyway, so that's been our thoughts
Ewoks 2017. You heard it here first.
No, that's a rough start. That's not going to be good. But anyway, this has been our thoughts on The Last Jedi, what we think it could mean, and some minor predictions for what this 8th movie has in store this December.
What are the Knights of Ren?
What are the Knights of Ren? What does Ren even mean? Like, we know what a Sith is.
Who is Ren? Are they just big Ren and Stimpy fans?
Is Kylo even technically a Sith at all? We lost the last Sith Lord. Maybe he's Kylo Ren because technically Sith don't exist. Maybe we'll have the Order of Ren and with The Last Jedi, something completely new. I hadn't thought about that at all.
Another video.
Yeah, that'll be another video speculating what Ren actually means. I thought about a really funny Straight Outta Compton spoof with fuck the Jedi and Ren said it with authority. That's an MC Ren reference. But anyway, these have been our thoughts on the new reveal for the 8th Star Wars movie title, The Last Jedi. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I'm just really excited.
Yeah.
I'm loving yearly Star Wars.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Rogue One was amazing. Having Episode 8 and then hopefully a really good Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
Which Rogue One helped cement my confidence that they can do cool genre films and have it add to the past.
Yeah.
Rather than just sort of fluff it out and just make money out of it. They seem like they're making... Rogue One was objectively, potentially, from a constructed standpoint, possibly one of the best Star Wars movies from an artistic film standpoint.
Yeah.
Because it was also the first Star Wars movie that was a whole story on its own.
Yeah.
And it was heavy.
Yeah.
It was really character-driven. Not flawless by any standard, but, compared to the other ones, I think objectively could be considered one of the best Star Wars movies. Yeah, totally. But anyway, this has been our thoughts on Star Wars The Last Jedi title reveal. We'll be giving you guys more updates as this movie is coming out. We're super excited here at the Geek XP about this new Star Wars film and everything that it can imply and mean for the ever-expanding Star Wars universe. We should be doing some more updates as Star Wars Rebels continues to heat up. We're getting to some right now we're sort of doing filler episodes as characters become more developed. But as we get closer to the finale, which will include stuff with Darth Maul, old Obi-Wan on Tatooine, and I believe they're getting into some Old Republic stuff.
Yeah.
We'll be covering that. Usually, once we get to those finales, big events happen in the Star Wars universe. So expect some more content for Star Wars here on the Holocron about Rebels and the upcoming Last Jedi movie.
Stay tuned for Ewok updates.
Nope.
Wicket 2017. You heard it here.
But anyway, stay tuned to the Holocron and Geek XP for all your Star Wars news. Well, probably not all of it, but if you're interested, back here for Star Wars news. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.